afternoon, everyone. I hope you're ready as we start to discover new things and have fun. We're in this together, so let's start and support each other by listening. What we will know. First, history of Shannon Weaver model. Second, explanation of Shannon Weaver model. Then, next is level of communication problems, advantages and disadvantages. Then we will give an example situations.
Good day, everyone. I'm going to discuss few knowledge about Claude Shannon. Claude Elwood Shannon was one of the inventor of Shannon Weaver's model of communication. He was born on April 30, 1916 at Petoskey, Michigan, United States. And he died on February 24, 2001 at Medford, Massachusetts, United States. He was an American mathematician, electrical engineer, and cryptographer. He founded the information theory with the landmark paper, A Mathematical Theory of Communication, which he published in 1948. That's why he also known as the father of the information theory.
Warren Weaver. He was born on July 17, 1894, and he also died on November 24, 1978, at the age of 84. He was an American scientist, mathematician, and science administrator. He received 3 degrees from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, a Bachelor of Science in 1916, Civil Engineering degree in 1917, and a PhD in 1921. He is obviously one of the inventor of the Shannon Weaver model. He is widely recognized as one of the pioneers of machine translation and as an important figure in creating support for science in the United States. Shannon and Weaver were both from the United States. While Claude Shannon was a mathematician, Warren Weaver was an electrical engineer too. Many believe this mathematical theory of communication was mainly developed by Claude Shannon alone, and Warren Weaver only had a minimal role. It is often simply called the Shannon information theory in science disciplines. Shannon developed the theory to improve understanding of communication via telephone and eventually improve the quality of phones. It was later used as a general theory of communication.
At this moment, I am going to discuss about the Shannon-Weaver model of communication and how does it work. Shannon-Weaver model of communication is a mathematical theory of communication which argues that human communication can be broken down into 6 key concepts. The 6 key concepts are sender or information source, encoder or transmitter, channel, noise, decoder or reception, and receiver or destination. A later version of the theory by Norbert Wiener added a feedback, the 7th concept, which changed the model from linear into cyclical model. The primary value of Shannon-Weaver model of communication is in explaining how messages are lost and distorted in the process of communication. So now, let us discuss how the model works and how does it start. First is sender. Sender is the person who has the information to begin with. The information source starts the process by choosing a message to send, someone to send the message to, and a channel through which to send the message. So meaning, sender is the primary source of the information and it depends on what will he or she will going to say and how will she or he will say it. Now let's go on to encoder or transmitter. Encoder or transmitter is the machine that converts the idea into signals that can be sent from the sender to the receiver. This model was designed originally to explain communication through means such as telephones and computers, which encode our words using codes like binary digits or radio waves. Another explanation is the gadgets that we use right now, such as cell phones and laptop, during our online class is the machine that we use in distance learning so that we can communicate with each other. and those machine converts our voice into binary digits or radio waves so that the other participants inside this class can hear our voice. The next concept is the channel. Channel is the infrastructure that gets the information from the sender and transmitter through the decoder and receiver. We sometimes call this as the medium. Internet, cables, and electric wires are considered as the channel of communication or the medium. The fourth concept is noise. Noise interrupts a message while it's on the way from the sender to the receiver. There are two types of noise, namely internal and external noise. Internal noise happens when a sender makes a mistake in encoding a message or a receiver makes a mistake in decoding the message. Two points where it can happen: at the point of encoding when you misspelled a word in a text message, and at the point of decoding when someone misinterprets the sentence while reading it. External noise happens when something impedes the message. It happens at the point of transmission through the channel. It may be an interruption on television broadcast, lost letter in a message, or bad internet connection. Next is decoding. Shannon and Weaver made this model in reference to communication that happens through devices like telephones. Decoding is the exact opposite of encoding. The next is receiver or the destination. It is the endpoint of the original Shannon and Weaver model of the technical communication process. This is the final step where the person finally gets the message. And last but not the least is feedback. Actually, the feedback step was not originally proposed by Shannon and Weaver in 1948. Norbert Wiener came up with the feedback step in response to criticism of linear nature of the approach. It occurs when the receiver of the message responds to the sender in order to close the communication loop. They might respond to let the sender know they got the message or to show the sender whether they got the message clearly without noise or how well they understand the message. And that's how Shannon Weaver model of communication works. Starts from sender to encoder, encoder to channel, channel to noise, noise to decoder, decoder to receiver, receiver to feedback. And now let's move on to the levels of communication problem. Levels of communication problem. There are three levels of problems of communication according to Shannon Weaver. They are technical problem, semantic problem, and effectiveness problem. Technical problem is how a channel causes a problem. Semantic problem is the meaning of the message sent and received very different. An effectiveness problem is how effectively does the message cause reaction.
The advantages of Shannon-Weaver model are: it improves the technical communication, it minimizes the noise that affects the flow of communication, it also applicable in general communication.
The disadvantages of Shannon-Weaver model are: feedback is taken as less important in comparison to the messages sent by the sender. Next, the model is taken by some critics as a misleading misrepresentation of the nature of human communication, as human communication is not mathematical in nature. Next, the Shannon-Weaver model, by its very nature, encounters some difficulty when applied to human communication. Its origin as a model to be applied to telecommunication rather than to interpersonal human communication limits its application due to the linear and directional makeup.
These are some situational examples of Shannon Weaver model. Number 1. Thompson made a call to his assistant saying, "Come here, I want to see you." During his call, noise appeared, and his assistant received, "I want only." Then the assistant asked Thompson, "Which is the feedback? What do you want, Thompson?" In this example, the sender is Thompson, the encoder is telephone, the channel is cable, the noise is the distraction in voice, the decoder is telephone, then the receiver is the assistant. Due to transmission error or noise, assistant can't able to understand Thompson's messages, the noise which affect the communication flow between them. Number 2. An editor made a call to one of the reporter about a meeting happening for important news coverage at 5 p.m. But during his call, noise appeared, and the reporter received, "We have a meeting about the important news coverage." The time, which is the 5 p.m., goes missing due to phone network disruption or noise. In this example, the sender is editor, the encoder is telephone, the channel is mobile network, the noise is the missing time due to disruption, the decoder is mobile phone, the receiver is the reporter. So due to transmission error or noise, reporter can't able to understand the editor's messages. The noise affected the communication flow between them.